They say all dogs go to heaven, but after hearing what Cassie said today in her testimony, it's looking like all diddies go to hell. What if I told you Cassie had some of the most horrific things to say in her testimony, including what she said here that had her literally breaking down in tears? And I'm gonna get to that. But it was some things said about Diddy's former chief of staff, Christine Coram, that might have her in the hot seat, and a random story Cassie told about Suge Knight that got people really tripping. Imagine having to be on the stand in front of the whole world talking about how some man smashed you in the head, knocked you over, dragged you, kicked you, and stomped you in the head. And not only that, after these horrific freak-offs where it was sexual nastiness going on, Sean would want her to put nut all over his body, usually on his nipples. And having to do all of this while your husband watched and supports. Cassie began testimony by putting her right hand up and swearing to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and started off by saying she met Diddy when she was only 19 years old. He was damn near 40. She said she fell in love with him immediately, but then immediately it turned into nothing but freak-offs that lasted from 36 to 72 hours, basically becoming her job, not a singer, which she was originally trying to be. And not only was she trapped in hell with this man Diddy, but it was the whole staff that would help out with these freak-offs. As you can see here, her testimony about interacting with Combs' staff. Why is that important? Because that's why it's a RICO, because the whole staff was controlled. And who was the top dog? Allegedly Christina Coram, whatever her name is, and Cassie mentioned her by name. As you can see here, she identified people in photos, including Christina Coram. Now, why is that important? Because to this day, Christina Coram, former chief of staff, denies horrific accusations against her. Now, in order for her to avoid trouble, she might have to tell on Diddy, so pay attention to that going forward. But a random story with Suge Knight detailed Combs' intimidation. Kentura recalled their rivalry and said one day they were in the middle of a freak-off and Diddy jumped up, got his goons together, put on all black, loaded up the pew-pews, and ran up to try to find Suge Knight, who was supposed to be somewhere at an eating spot or something. And then it all climaxed, for lack of a better word, in this moment when Cassie Ventura literally broke down into tears. And she broke down into tears because she was describing that the time she spent with Diddy, it was like got to the point where she felt like the only time she could spend with him was doing her freak-offs. She said it felt disgusting. She was humiliated and didn't have words to put together how the time was so horrible that she couldn't even talk to anybody about it. And furthermore, Diddy would record them and use those tapes as blackmail and threaten her that if she ever said anything, he would put those tapes out. Ouch. Overall, I know the jury was moved by this, and it ain't over. She will be continuing to testify tomorrow. But the funny thing about this picture right here is that you see the strength of Cassie looking directly at Diddy, and he's so ashamed he can't even look at her. And I don't like it. What if I told you?